1, 2, 3.
So I make your journey all this way to England.
I need to start earning money and make a decent home for children.
I'm actually here to assess a potential husband.
I want to be a star.
Why you never tell me how bad it was here?
At the beginning of lockdown, I was a bit down because I'd written a few scripts and nothing was going anywhere. And so I rang my friend at the behest of my partner, and his name is Russell T. Davies. Do you know that guy? Anyway, he's a really good guy. He's a friend of mine. And he agreed to mentor me through the next project, which meant helping me with the scripts and executive producing and things like that. It was an outpouring of my mom's stories, my auntie's stories, my family's stories, and people I knew, books I read. There's a brilliant book by Elise Dodgson called Motherland about women leaving the Caribbean in the 50s and coming to Britain with no money and leaving their children behind and things like that. So I had a lot of input, and I turned it into what I love, which is drama that's underpinned with humour and great music and fantastic clothes.
Well, of course, working with Lenny is a massive thing, and that was a big draw. I think career-wise for me, I've always been into my period dramas. Like, I love history. I think it's maybe the gossip element. This probably sounds really bad, but I love knowing what happened and who did what. And honestly, I feel like it should be taught in schools like that. When the script landed in my inbox, I was very intrigued, and then I sort of read it and felt like maybe Lenny had been following my family around for years because it's such, it's a story that's, which he then had, it's such a story that's very, very close to home. You know, my grandmother came over with her sister and a friend, like it's eerily close to home.
I got the story in drips and drabs. For every audition I got a segment of text. So it was great how familiar it was. And then of course, peppered with humour and just spiced up the place just because of who's involved in this.
It resonated so deeply with the stories that I like to tell, because I think the one such as ours has gone untold for so long. People look over it so easily, it's easily forgotten. And as our generations start to pass away, these stories can just be lost to history.
There are so many moments in this series that I think are going to catch people in their feelings. I particularly like the pronunciation of cucumber. I think one of my favourite moments is Leah leaving Jamaica and the way she leaves. It's gonna kill you. What about you?
Yeah, I think I've got my two favourites, one from episode 1 and one from episode 6. I don't want to give too much away, but they both felt very momentous. So the journey that day, filming it was we weren't in Jamaica, we were in Wales.
Don't tell people. We were in Jamaica.
The whole time.
We filmed the whole thing in Jamaica.
We're in our little summer dresses, like winds, like
breathing out all the steam coming out of your mouth.
But that was pretty epic. That day felt really epic.
But I think it's when Hosanna experiences stuff for the first time. So her first time, this isn't giving too much away, but her first time in a pub, an English pub, and what that meant for her.
Never been to a pub before.
Ever in this time. So it was great, her experiencing stuff for the first time, her first time in an English church as opposed to a Jamaican church. Those were all really sort of beautiful moments.
Shooting the departure was really moving because we were abroad at that time, we were in the Caribbean, and seeing all of us in period costume, like paying homage to the people that allowed us to be here now. Seeing our props with these big massive cargo boxes saying Kingston, Jamaica. There's a beautiful pan-in shot of our supporting artists saying goodbye. And it breaks me every time because there is so much that people wanted to gain by leaving, but there was so much left behind. Yeah. And some people didn't see their family members again. But it was such a leap of faith and a call to courage, and that is like a standout moment for me.
I want to say a big shout out as well to the artists who performed while we were in the foreground, because you wouldn't have those scenes without all of those people on set that day, waving and kind of beaming their dreams to us through the lens. It's beautiful.
Really beautiful.
We have to say big up to them because they were marvellous.
Yeah.
There have been many dramas about the black experience in Britain, Spaghetti House Siege. This will be the first, I think, high-end series about this time period that's ever been on British television, and I think it's going to blow people's minds.
I think so.
They've never seen this amount of
people of colour
people of colour on primetime television. I think it's going to be, hopefully, a lovely and shocking experience for them, because I didn't just want 5 Jamaican people in Dudley to watch this. I think this show is for everybody. So I think that when they realise that there was an element of, we are here, it's difficult now, but in a minute you're going to think we're really cool because we offer something to the party. I think watching that process, if God agrees and gives us more series, they'll see that as we develop, people have contributed to this country a great deal. Every immigrant that's come to this country has contributed something.
I think it allowed me to ask a lot more truthful questions to my parents. I think my mum romanticised a lot of the experiences, and some of them are true, some of them may have been fabricated. I'm not calling you a liar, Mum, I love you. But it kind of opened up this really...
You're in such trouble when you get home.
I am in so much trouble, but it opened up this really beautiful dialogue. And then it also just allowed me to pay so much respect to the people that came before me.
I think anything that allows me to tell stories that feel like my own is a really, really special thing. As much as it is for everyone, it was so wonderful to be able to see oneself and one's own experiences and hear the echoes of the stories from your direct lineage being told, being honoured, being lifted up like this. I think when something is so close to you, it hums in your bones and you get so much by just being yourself. Through what you've witnessed growing up, through what brought you into the world, you're able to bring. There's nothing where you feel like you have to elbow yourself in, because it's all there. We are encouraged to bring everything we had. There's nothing better.
Yeah, as Saf said, I think I had a really similar experience, but it felt really cathartic. And I think through filming and like delving into my own family history and delving into this character, I hadn't realised how much of my own heritage I'd kind of maybe shut off from. Because I think, especially growing up in the UK, there is a big thing of wanting to assimilate, and your parents wanting you to have a life that maybe they couldn't have. It was really lovely to be able to use our craft, to tap into a side of your life and your heritage that often no one wants to see. Like no one wants to see it. You're never asked to show it unless it's Carnival or Black History Month.
Our performers, our actors feel like they belong in the story.
That's the word.
I want to be able to tell more stories like that, because this stuff is about life. It's the very stuff of life, and if we don't tell these stories, what are we here for? There's so many stories to tell. Yeah, there's so many stories you don't even understand. Listen, we're in 1958 at the end of this. You haven't even got to bam, bam, my boy lollipop, da, 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 da. You make my heart go giddy up. You haven't even got there yet.
You haven't seen any of us dance.
You haven't seen. There's no. Listen, there's going to be ska. Just the music alone. Ska, rock steady, reggae, one
Then
drop,
Lovers Rock,
hip hop, grime. If we're allowed to do it, there's a musical journey. There's a personal journey. There's romance. There's loveliness. There's people exploring their sexuality who probably would have kept it a bit hidden before. There's life. There's riots. There's so many things to watch and celebrate and go, that's us. That's us. That's who we are.
And we've been here.
And I think if we're allowed, we want to get to those stories and make our people proud.
Yes.
Because we stand on their shoulders. And so we want to honour them.